أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Madam Chair, Commissioners, Lead Counsel, Assistant Counsel, viewers and listeners, members of the press, good morning once again to our daily proceedings of this Commission of Inquiry into Local Government Councils and related matters. Without further ado, I have the honor to yield the floor to Madam Chair for today's item on the agenda. Thank you. Madam Chair, over to you.
I will call on Honorable Silla to lead us in Muslim prayers and Honorable Joyner to lead us in Christian prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة أن لا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم تدعون نحن أولياؤكم في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة ولكم فيها ما تشتهي أنفسكم ولكم فيها ما تدعون نزل من غفور رحيم. ومن أحسن قولا ممن دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين. لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Great God of wonders and love, we thank you for yet another glorious day to render our worship and praise to you. We are grateful to be alive in your presence and not in a mortuary. We ask for your blessings upon us today. Transform our lives, heal the sick, give peace to the troubled hearts. Speak to us in a special way. Let your hearts be receptive to your word. We honor you, Lord. Guide us on our earthly pilgrimage, and may your grace continue to abide with us now and forevermore. Amen.
Good morning, Madam Witness. You may kindly take your seat for continuation of your testimony before this Commission of Inquiry into Local Government Councils and related matters. I want to remind you that you are still on the oath before I hand over to Madam Chair for us to proceed. Thank you. Madam Chair, over to you.
Thank you very much, and good morning to the Honorable Commissioners, Honorable Chairperson. Welcome back for yet another session. Thank you, Madam Her Worship, for being present today as well. We will proceed from where we stopped the last time. Your evidence will be interpreted. We have the interpreter, so that when I speak in English, he will interpret in Wolof, and also when you answer or give a statement in Wolof, we will wait for the interpretation in English language. Is it okay?
Yes.
We discussed the last time you were here issues regarding the authority that you have in relation to financial obligations of council.
Nena so fatrek won suñu togaay bu mujjé bi fi luñu nekkon di waxtaan fi moy lu dem ci lo xamné wargal bi nga xamné am nga ko ci mbiri finance ci council.
Now before we proceed on that,
nena waye bala
before we proceed with that,
nena waye bala ñu continuer ci lolu,
do you recall giving a statement to the investigators?
nena nda mun nga fatale ko ne musu nga jox statement investigators.
Wow.
Yes.
Now, when we asked you whether you have any authority for expenditure, your answer was that as the mayoress, you don't have any powers in relation to that. Am I correct?
nena su fato de bu nga laaj to lu la wax li pour mbiri doole bi nga xam ne wala warugal bi nga xam ne am nga ko pour mbiri dépense nena waaye yow li nga waxoon mooy nga ne amuloo fa doole.
Wow.
Yes.
Now, why did you say that?
nena lu tax nga wax loolu.
Because CEO bi moom mooy di authority ki nga xam ne moo am doole pour loolu.
Yes, because the CEO is the person who have the authority for that matters.
Now, when you say that, what do you mean?
nena so waxee loolu loo mën si loolu.
moom mooy di spending authority.
He is the spending authority.
Now, does that mean he has the absolute authority for expenditure?
nena xanaa loolu dafa wone ne moom am na doole pour affaire dépense wala am na wargal pour loolu.
Absolute, as in moom keena.
nena moom kenn am na doole boobu wala wargal boobu pour def loolu.
mënuma wax ndax moom keena moo am the absolute authority or not waaye xam naa ne moom mooy di spending authority.
Well, I can't say that he alone or he have the absolute authority, but I know, as I said, he got the authority.
Now, in council, as the mayors,
nena comme yow yaay mayoress ci council.
what is your role?
nena yow lan mooy sa rôle wala sa wargal foofu.
In the governance structure of the area council.
So demee si government structure si area council bi.
Man oversight authority la am.
I have the oversight authority.
And how do you understand that?
nena yow loolu noo ko xamee.
mooy pour supervise li nga xam ne moom la gaay di def.
For me, that is to supervise whatever they do or they go through.
And how do you do this?
nena naka nga ko dee def.
mooy suñ ma waxee li nga xam ne moom la gaay bëgg a def.
That is when I am informed of what they want to do.
ma yóbbu ko si suma council.
Then I take that to council.
mu ñëwaat back to the CEO for implementation.
Then it will come back to the CEO for the implementation.
And what does this cover? If they tell you what they want to do, what is the scope of that? What does it cover?
nena loolu lan la cover wala lan la umba ñoom suñu la waxee wala suñu nga xam ne am na loo xam ne am na gëstu bi nga xam ne bëgg nañ ko def.
li nga xam ne.
am na gëstu bi nga xam ne bëgg nañ ko def.
bari na.
It's many.
mooy services for example.
For instance, services.
benn la ci loolu.
Yes, that is one part of it.
beneen bi tamit affaire staffs for example.
And another thing is the staffs.
su fekkee ne CEO gis na loo xam ne indi na ko ci man.
If at all the CEO have observed something and bring it before me,
mun naa ko yóbbu council.
I can be able to take that to council.
ñu waxtaan si.
Then we discuss about that.
ñu delloowaat ko ci moom.
And bring it back to him.
So you only deal with matters that is brought to you by the chief executive officer.
nena kon dafa mel ni yow matters yi nga xam ne yooyu nga dee diilal mooy yoo xam ne dañ la ko isi yi nga xam ne jógee si executive.
waaw because lu ma indi lu ma koo xam.
Yes, because whatever is not brought to me, I will not be able to know.
So if the CEO did not bring anything to you for discussion, you would not know.
nena kon CEO su fekkee ne isi dara wala wax la dara si mbir li nga xam ne loolu ngeen war a waxtaan kon daf daa mel ni yow doo mun a yëg wala doo xam lu yow.
xanaa su fekkee ne am na loo xam ne dégg naa ko ci biti.
Unless if it is something that I had it outside.
mun naa ko engage.
Yes, I can be able to engage.
Now, how do you receive communications from the CEO? Do you have periodical meetings, daily meetings, weekly meetings, monthly meetings? How do you structure your relationship with the chief executive to be able to get information from the
nena kon sa diggante ak CEO bi wala executive bi naka ngeen dee def wala yow sa bopp naka nga dee def ba mun a am xibaar si ñoom ndax da ngeen dee am meeting waxtu bu nekk wala bés bu nekk wala semaine bu nekk.
many times su fekkee ne dégg naa dara mun naa ko oo moo staffam bi.
Many times when I heard of something, I do call him, or I can be able to call him and his staffs.
moom tamit su fekkee ne am na lu ma bëgg a wax mu ñëw waxtaan ko man.
And he too, if he intend to discuss something with me, he can come. He do come and we discuss.
so dinañ dee engagante almost on daily basis daal.
That is how we do engage ourselves during daily basis.
Are these minuted? Do you have minutes of some of these engagements?
Minutes. See engagement nga amne yoyu nga de am ak mom.
Most of the time meeting yi they am minutes.
Most of the meetings does not have minutes.
Waaye ñoom meeting yi ñu am on seen monthly meeting yi si.
But for them, there are monthly meetings.
There are minutes.
They do have minutes.
For who?
As
in them, who do you
management?
The management.
No.
Are you part of the management?
No, I never involve or I never attend their meetings.
Is there any reason?
I don't know. CEO below la advice.
That is how the CEO advised. And I think that is how what I interpreted there.
We are talking about the senior management meeting, SMT.
Wow.
Senior management meetings.
Wow.
Yes.
And so the CEO advised that you should not be part of the senior management meeting.
Wow, many times
many times I intended to join the meeting or
why the advice meeting after
but he always advised me, let me leave them to do their meeting, then later I'll be informed.
And what is the reason that he will give you as to why you should not be present in those meetings?
I'm not many times more report to man. Management report to more report to man.
Because the management do report to him and he do report to me.
Did he back that up by any authority, either the local government act or any other regulation that may have stated that?
Musudma won de way man tam musuma gis ci local government act bi fu waxé né mayor bi dafa wara nek ci management meeting.
You have never told me that, and I too have never seen that in the local government act, that a mayor should not be present at the meeting.
Did you also see where it has also stated that the mayor should not be part of the meetings of the SMT?
Nena gis nga fofu tamit ci act bi fu mu woné wala fu mu wax né mayor warta fek meeting bi.
They did.
No.
So why would you choose one and leave the other?
Because Momo is my chief advisor.
May I hear you?
Please repeat that.
Madam Mayor, can you please speak up a bit louder?
Momo is my chief advisor.
He is my chief advisor.
Yes, but you make decisions.
Make decisions.
Man might make decisions.
Yes, as the mayor.
I trust him.
Yes, whatever he told me, I do proceed as how he advised me to do so.
Does he bring every minute of meetings that the SMT will hold every month, as the case may be, to you?
I don't think so.
Do you know why?
How?
No.
Then it means that his advice would not have been proper, because, like you said, he said he will have to conduct the meetings and then report to you. If he does not now report to you, will that not be ineffective?
Kon soko sété dafa nek lo xamné waratu di andut ak yoon parce que mom lu mu wax moy so féké sa way ñom suñu défé sen meeting mom dana ñu dal ci yow di la wax du xew dena kon su féké né def na meeting té mom yëgarul ko la kon lolu dafa melni lolu du mëna nek lo xamné dafa effectif
wa xejna minutes nga wax xejna du indi minutes way dina ñew ci man mané ma li waxon nañ ko ci
talking of the minutes
meetings.
Probably he will not bring the minutes, but he will come personally to me to explain me exactly what the meeting was about.
Will that be sufficient to you? The verbal communication is sufficient to you?
Well, to be quite honest, in Banjul City Council, most of our communications, nobody does the verbal.
Yeah, to be honest, in Banjul City Council, most of our communications are verbal.
Is that the best way?
I would say no.
No?
Then why was it not changed?
Well, commission
yes, from this commission I learned a lot, and I realized that really writing is very important.
Because most of my communications ministry bi sax dama di jóg rek ma dem wax ak ñoom.
Because
permanent secretary bi ma ñëwaat toog.
most of my communications with the ministry, I just go talk to them verbally with the permanent secretary and I come back and sit down.
waaye si commission bi laa jàngee ne.
But from this commission, I learned that
binda lu baax la.
writing is very good.
te jàng naa tamit ne.
And I learned that too.
su nekkul ci commission bi sax am na yeneen yu ma jànga.
Even about that, I learned a lot.
lu ma won ne binda dafa baax.
That shows me that writing is very important.
Yeah, so I asked that because the CEO, if he does not forward the minutes of meetings, might have omitted so many important issues for you to be better informed.
Nena so gisee mo xala lolu parce que su issue minutes yi mu ñew mom nen loxo nen dal di la explain lo xamne lolu mo xewon fele ci meeting bi mën na nek lu bari sa do la ko wax te yow do ko yé.
I totally agree.
Yes, I agree to that.
Now, in which case the area council would not have been managed in the most appropriate manner, because then you wouldn't have had the up-to-date information between the daily management, that is the CEO and staff, for a better supervision, supervisory role by the political branch, which is headed by the mayors. I'm saying, in the absence of forwarding the minutes to the mayors.
Nena lu mo min fi moy ko mel ko amna mi xamne meeting ci du ñu la ko dé ici nena lolu ci xewé ci yow ici ñu la ko minutes.
You would not be in the position to administer the area council in the manner.
Nena lolu dana tax do mëna yobu council bi ci yoon bi nga xamne
in the manner in which it is supposed to be governed. Because now you will have inadequate information.
Because from
the chief executive and staff.
Chief executive and staff.
Because there's a gap in the reporting system. You agree with that?
Well, how many drive council be for the success of the council is not only the mayor.
You know what drives the council for council successful is not the mayor, only the mayor.
So Lulu is the council body.
That is the body of council.
So head na CEO su mo bañé wax dara.
I think if CEO refused to tell me something.
Why su démé ci general council?
Well, if it went to general council.
Fi nga xamné mom dafa dé tok.
Where he always present.
What drive the success of the council.
And what to drive the success of the council? That he will explain that to that place.
Does he forward the monthly minutes of meetings to general council?
Then our monthly meetings, minutes in general council.
Most of the time, verbally,
most of the time, we will be informed verbally of what the meeting was all about.
Why
But whether he used to forward the minutes to the council,
I remember in the minutes.
But for the ones I'm present, I cannot remember him bringing any minutes.
But I stand to be corrected.
Right, I stand to be corrected.
So which means the problem you have in relation to the CEO not forwarding the minutes to you is the same problem the council will also have, because he would not also submit in the manner in which he is supposed to the minutes of meetings to council for better communication.
Nena kon lolu lu mu wone wala lu mu min moy dafa melni yow nu mu la ñaké la ici ministre ci yow bi nga xamné ministre ñu def ci meeting bi nena mën na nek ben yoon bi la fele tamit ci council tamit dafa day yobu ministre pour won len lan mo xew.
Wow, lima try to establish fi moy ne
what I would like to establish here is that
xejna duma jox duñu jox minutes.
Maybe he will not give us the minutes.
Why verbatim dina ñu explain na li ak li mo am.
But he will explain to us directly verbally what had happened.
So fofu gap bi lu fa nek moy
that is the gap there is that
ñu baña am anything written.
that we don't have something with it.
te loolu lay wax ni tey.
And that is what I'm saying here today.
ne li fa sës foofu mooy.
That what had happened there is that.
kii moo ma ne kële moo ma ne.
This said and the other one says so to me.
kële ne déedéet waxuma ko kii ne akay waxoon na ma ko.
And somebody will deny to say no, I have never said that to you, but you say yes, you do.
waaye foog naa gentleman agreement.
But I believe gentleman agreement.
which I'm not trying to say ne loolu moo war a am.
And of which I'm not trying to say that should happen.
waaye am na ñoo xam ne dinañ mën a taxaw wax ne ok dëgg la lii ñoo ko waxoon.
But there are, and I think there are people who will stand to say yes, definitely this is what I have said this.
Yes, and so again, to conclude on that, you cannot ascertain whether it's exactly what is discussed at the SMT that is translated or to the council, because if you don't have access to the minutes, you would not know whether there is an omission or not.
Nena kon lolu mo ne moy definitely ñom suñu defé sen meeting ba paré ñu ñew ci yow di la ko wax ni isuñ la kayit wala minutes yi nena mën na nekk sa lu bari li nga xamné war nañ la ko won wala war nañ la ko wax duñ la ko wax mën na nekk tamit yoon bobu tamit lañ def ci SMC moy council fofu tamit mën nañ fa dem ba paré andu ñax minutes so amna lo xamné lu bari duñ ko won wala duñ ko waxé fofu
lo digal.
That is true.
Now that was why my earlier point was that
that
if the CEO handicaps you as the mayoress and handicaps the council, in relation to accurate flow of information, that would not help the council to fully execute its functions.
That is true.
Now, back to the authority for expenditure. You're familiar with the financial and accounting manual for local government authorities?
nekkuma si master de comme li ma la wax rek moom mooy suma technicien bi moom ñoom suma advisors yi anything loo xam ne bëgg naa ko xam dama leen di oo ñoom ma laaj ko.
As I said earlier on, he is my technician and they are my advisors, so whatever I'm eager to know, I call them and ask them.
Let me read to you what it says on page 19, section 305, which states authority for expenditure.
Nina legi daf lay jangal loi bo xamne bobu tege nako wala dañ ko tek jagar ko pour ngeen gis ne mbiri dépense naka nga la ko wara yobé.
It reads, the authority to incur expenditure is vested in council through budget approval. Mr. Bojo, do you mind interpreting that? I will take
very
it
well. Yes,
slowly.
May I hear you very well?
That
Yes.
the authority to incur expenditure is vested in council
Nena lolu lu wone lu mu njëkka wax mooy doole bi nga xam ne joxe nañ ko pour mu affaire yi dépense nena doole boobu joxe nañ ko council mu si council
through budget approval.
nena yooyu fu mu wone fu sukkandiku mooy si budget approval bi.
The finance director shall not make any payment
nena waaye financial director warta def benn fay
nor accept any charge
wala joxe accept si benn charge ca wartu charge dara
nor accept any charge in his accounts unless
nena warta nangu benn charge si accountant bi xanaa su
authorized by the chief executive
su fekkee ne chief executive bi jox na ko cadeau pour mu def loolu.
and in accordance with the monetary thresholds
nena te ak tamit ak ànd ak monetary thresholds
approved by each council.
yi nga xam ne council bi dañ ko approve.
As regard the monetary threshold,
nena soo ko seetee si monetary threshold bi
it should be noted that
nena loolu war na wone ne
up to a given amount,
xam na ñaata wala nangam si xaalis
the CEO can approve and incur expenditure
bi nga xam ne CEO mun na ko approve mu daal di ko def dépense ko
without reference to the chairman or mayor
nena loolu mun na ko def te fekk amul benn référence si chairman wala si mayor
of the council.
si council bi
Up to a certain amount,
nena dem na ba benn amount wala certain amount mooy nangam
the CEO is required to consult
nena CEO boobu moom joxuñ ko doole moom lu war mooy dafa war a consult
and seek clearance from the chairman or mayor.
te si biir boobu dafa war a nit clearance si mayor wala si caaban.
Beyond a given amount,
si xaalis wala nanga bi nga xam ne njëg bi nga xam ne wax nañ ko wala joxe nañ ko.
the CEO is required to refer such expenditure
nee na CEO lu war si moom mooy expenditure boobu daf ko war a refer wala yooni ko si.
to council to seek approval.
si council mu daal di am approval.
Do you understand what it says?
nee na yëg nga wala leer na si yow lu mu wax.
bu baax.
very well.
What do you understand?
nee na yow sa boppa loo yëg si wala loo xam si loi bi.
mooy ne anything loo xam ne dañ koo spend dafa it should be budgeted for.
Then that means anything that should be spent from council must be budgeted for.
and budget dafa war a dem council.
And the budget has to pass through council.
janaa council bi dafa ko war a nangu.
You were explaining what your understanding is in relation to the authority for expenditure as per the financial manual.
Okay, to sum it up, mooy ne every expenditure should be budgeted for.
As I said, every expenditure must be budgeted for.
And budget should be approved by council.
And the said budget should approve by council.
And also there should be a ceiling. Dafa war a am ceiling.
And there should be a ceiling to that.
The ceiling boobu noonu su passé the CEO dafa war a ko yëgal the mayor.
And if that ceiling is exceeded the ceiling, the CEO must inform the mayor.
That's correct.
Now,
do you have this ceiling or this threshold during the period that you have served as mayors in Banjul City Council?
Nena ceiling bobo wala threshold bobo nenda lolu musna ko am di bi nga toge as mayors ci Banjul City Council.
Wa Banjul City Council amul
yes.
A ceiling.
Banjul City Council
amul ceiling.
Have no ceiling.
Try now for so many times.
I tried that for many times.
Why work out?
But it doesn't work.
What do you mean you've tried it so many times it didn't work?
Then as soon as I tried for many times it doesn't work. What means it?
Wa bindo na rek pour wone ne so amount sangam suñ ko spend.
I have written to say that if there are the expenditure will be amounted to something.
So pour ñu mako de yegal.
Let them inform me.
Who did you write to?
Then binga binde kan nga binda?
I wrote a memo.
I wrote a memo
to the CEO.
To the CEO.
When was this?
Then I cannot
remember why do bena sax du ñaar.
I cannot remember exactly, but it's more than 3 times.
And you wrote to say that there should be a ceiling.
Then ya bindon dal dile wone ne ceiling dafa wara am.
Wow.
Yes.
And what is the ceiling that you wrote should be enforceable in council?
Then ñaata ci ceiling wala lan moy ceiling bi nga xamne yow sa bopa bindi nga ko pour council.
I cannot remember why memo be mu fa.
I cannot remember, but the memo is there.
How much exactly ñaata la bindon? I cannot remember anymore.
I cannot remember exactly how much I wrote.
Why xamna ne
please proceed.
But I know that
mujjewut daal.
It doesn't last.
Yes, we will come back to that. Now that you are here, how much do you think should be the maximum amount that the CEO can authorize without your consent? And if it reaches that amount, it should be with your consent. How much do you think should be a reasonable amount for the safeguarding of the finances of council?
Nena come wanga ne linga bindo mun loko fataliku nena way legi yange tok fi te yow ya mayores bi legi yow sa halat bi ñata nga fogné ci njeg lolu mo war pour CEO bi wara doxal without la ko sax
comme man lima halat man la wax.
Yes, what I think that's what you are saying.
Yes.
Yes.
Mun na nek 100,000, mun na nek 300,000.
It might be 200,000, 300,000.
Now why was it not enforced?
Nena luta lolu enforce len ko wala top len ko
lolu mom wax diga yalla man mënuma tontu lolu.
For that really I can't be able to answer.
Why is that?
Nena luta
man lima def rek moy suma effort ci la try pour make sure ne may xam lu xew.
What I did was I tried my effort to know what is going on.
But it's supposed to be a mandatory directive. It's supposed to be a practice that it must happen. In the language of the law, it must happen.
Nena li war na nek lo xamne lu war la te dafa war am. Parce que so sété ci loi bi woné na né li dafa war nek lo xamne dafa war am.
Now, you have written several times.
Nena yow bind nga ay yoon yu bari comme ni ko waye.
The CEO must follow.
Nena te CEO war na topa lolu.
And it was never followed.
Nena te musuta topa lolu.
Who is at fault?
Nena fault bi ci kan la? I can't tell exactly who is faulty.
Why lead council
Dana luta, but lead council, what I want to tell you is that
commission be council
this commission, all councils have knowledge or learn from this council.
If I have to be very honest with
commission. If I want to be honest with you, I used to sit at my home, listen or follow this commission, and normally I learn a lot. I used to hear things that my council are not doing that.
Why, as a leader?
As a leader,
you take responsibility.
I will take the responsibility.
Thank you very much. And again, that's why this brings us back to the earlier position that you held. So when we talk about authority for expenditure, the idea that a mayor or a mayoress or a chairperson that they don't have power for expenditure, the law says something different to that. The law says go ahead. 3 people. I will refer to council as people. I will refer to, I am saying 3, that is the CEO, the mayor, mayoress, or chairman, as the case may be. Because some areas have chairman, like Brikama. And council as a general body. All of them have authority, should have authority for expenditure. Now, the CEO report to you. Now, you report back to council which you head. The CEO does not have the full or absolute power to decide how much money goes in or goes out. Above the CEO, there is the mayor or mayoress or chairman. And above the mayor or mayoress or chairman, you have the council. Do we understand it that way?
I think council are just telling me exactly what the law says. And I think the law have to be implemented.
Why councils they don't hear none of that?
But council, we don't operate like that.
Because the CEOs, administration,
and the administration too, they have people behind them. I will not sit here and tell you lies. And nobody left here and you are killed. But if I say the mayors don't have powers, please believe me.
And why is that? I don't.
Ministry.
You write to the ministry.
They complain that.
Just complaining for something. And they will tell you directly, don't ever write to us.
It's only the CEO who have authority to bind you.
It's only the CEO who have the authority to write to us.
So there are a lot of frustration you have the money council.
There are a lot of frustration in council.
So I'm a CEO who have help.
If you have a CEO who don't have mind,
they will relegate to 0.
He will relegate it 0 to you.
And
this is the truth.
moo tax ma bëgg a appreciate ku ñëw fii.
This is why I appreciate, or I want to appreciate whoever come here.
waxal sa diggante ak yàlla rek pour ñu mun a jagar council si mu baax.
You explain the truth between yourself and God so that we can be able to maintenance the council to good standard.
waaye su dee dëgg rek moo am.
But if at all the truth is the one that is prevailing.
mayor si fii amul doole.
The mayors here.
At least Banjul City Council. Let me say this very clear.
Let me be specific. Is Banjul City Council mayors here have no powers?
Yeah, so I understand the frustration that council will have generally.
Frustration council generally.
With ministry.
Ministry.
We have dealt with this in the beginning. The permanent secretary was here. We have told the permanent secretary where they have fault. In fact, so many. So we agree with you. To a large extent. Based on subject matter. And that is the more reason why it's important, like you said, to see wherever fault lies, we will find out. And hopefully, the commissioners will make recommendations. And that is why we thank you for your honesty. And your time and interest in this. So that we also help each other to know the subject matter we are talking about. Because when it comes to finance, you have technically absolute control over your finance. Council decide how their finances are disbursed. And this, of course, will be in line with regulations. But your contracts, who you pay, how you pay them, the only person that you have to be answerable to is the regulations that are governing you. Do you understand that?
Okay.
Very well.
Exactly. So that the ministry cannot, to a large extent as well, dictate to you your daily expenditure. But of course, you will be audited periodically. Do we understand?
Okay.
Yes.
So authority for expenditure only rests squarely on 3 tiers: the CEO, mayor, mayoress or chairperson, and the council. CEO, mayor or mayoress, and chairperson. So what would be the difficulty in this?
No, as I said to you that you are quoting from the law. But we have another law at council of which is written and is laid on top of the table.
The lead council 1 million times commission.
And council, if we do commission for up to 1 million times.
The regularizing kuneka sa dole aksa m fanga wara m.
And they don't regularize the authorities or the powers for each where to start or where to stop.
Commission.
We'll have another commission.
And I wish the commission before them on you backdate for 5 years ago before using time.
And I wish this commission should be backdated for 5 years before our time.
So continent don't appreciate councils.
Then there the commission itself will appreciate councils the way they are working.
A typical example, everything.
For instance, the example is that you have said that the mayor must be aware of whatever is going on.
And again, I want to underline in the context of Banjul City Council.
And as I said, I am specific. Whatever I'm saying here, I'm just talking through the context of Banjul City Council.
Man gis na fi ñaata witness, over 20 witness yoo xam ne toog nañ fii.
I saw people who passed here before me. There are witnesses, more than 20 of them.
They were about the EU project of Banjul City Council.
And they were explaining about the EU project at the Banjul City Council.
The Banjul City Council musuma ko xam musuma ko yëg musuma leen a gis xawma ci kenn fii laa leen gisee ñu toog.
And I am at the City Council. I don't know them. I have never met them. I only saw them sitting here before the commission.
All right. We will of course reach to the EU project.
EU project.
And again, we will know. We will try to find out. We will try to find out the level of knowledge that each of the players have. But the issue regarding the problems of, like you said, I code the law, which I only have to. And you were trying to tell the commission that there are problems that you face in relation to what actually obtains on the ground. So, for instance, when the Local Government Finance and Audit Act 2004, Section 12.
Local Government Act Section 12, 2004 Section 12.
Local Government Finance and Audit Act.
Finance and Audit Act
2004.
2004.
Section 12.
Section 12.
We talk about financial autonomy of councils.
Financial autonomy of council.
Which reads, subject to the provisions of this act. And any other act. Each council has autonomy over its financial matters. Excluding salaries, allowances, and emoluments. So apart from these three, council, you can say, have absolute control. If you're paying a contractor $1 million, you just have to follow the procurement regulations. And then you pay in the right manner. You don't have to take any permission from ministry. If you want to deal with a vendor on a daily basis, you follow the procurement regulations. You don't have to take any 1% or 0.5% permission from ministry. So have you ever had a problem? Have you ever had problem in relation to, what I mean you is council, in relation to expenditure, where it is not within the areas of salary or allowance or emoluments? The ministry ever interfere with this, with your daily expenditure?
No, I'm not aware because I don't have any dealings with that.
Exactly. So that is why I said this is squarely on the council itself. Entirely. Do you agree?
Wow.
Yes.
Now, this is particularly important because so many payments have been made, which appears to not follow, not andut, dafa mel ni àndut appears to have not followed
nee na dafa mel ni àndut
with due process.
ak yoon bi nga xam ne yoon bu tegu.
By due process, I mean the financial manual,
nee na soo ne due process mooy toppa financial manual.
the Financial Audit Act,
Financial Audit Act.
and the list goes on.
te loolu muy toppante.
Now, what are the mechanisms that you have in council?
nee na kon yéen council ban mécanique ngeen am yi nga xam ne yooyu ngeen tëddal foofu. mécanisme.
To monitor.
pour ngeen mën a seet ne monitor bi.
The accounts of council.
mooy seen compte bi mooy compte council.
The expenditure.
mooy dépense.
of council.
council.
comme ni ma ko waxee woon rek man I rely entirely on the CEO.
As I said earlier on, I rely entirely on the CEO.
pour mu wax ma upgrade ma on council's accounts.
To upgrade me on council's account.
And to advise me the way forward.
And to advise me the way forward.
Would you know?
For example,
please proceed. Please proceed.
For example, so need to know what's the sponsorship, for example, scholarship.
For example, if somebody appear to look for a scholarship, I will call him. I inform him and I gave him the paper.
And then he will advise me.
And there he will advise me.
So the budget
if the budget is already there,
you proceed.
Then we proceed.
Now, the CEO, as we have discussed, is below the hierarchy. It's down at the hierarchy in relation to having powers for monetary threshold.
Dina soko sété mom nek na lo xamné dafa néw doolé pour mëna taxaw lu ñëw ci place bi nga xamné threshold woné.
Is it because council did not know that there should be a check and balance in relation to what the CEO approves or not?
Hana council wala xamuñ né amna lo xamné wala dafa war pour ngeen wara check li nga xamné council bi moy balance li nga xamné CEO bi def ko tégal da nga ko wara sét bu baax.
Going by the regulation for authority for expenditure.
Néna so topé loi bi nga xamné dafa téggu pour doolé bi nga xamné mom la joxé pour mbiri dépense.
Because it appears as if council did not know.
Néna because soko sété dafa melni council yeglé lolu.
That there should be this regulation.
Néna way dafa war loi bi dafa war téggu.
To monitor expenditure.
Pour nga gis né lolu mëna monitor expenditure bi.
Nekul ne xamuñ ko dé.
It doesn't mean that we don't know about it.
Because
as I told you that I wrote a memo more than twice.
Because this should come from council.
Because this is council la buy.
So number one, we will even apply that you produce the letters that you have written to CEO.
Légui sa lu ñu def fi moy mën nañ apply fu nga gis né memo yoy nga bind ci CEO nga dal di ko ici.
Can you do that?
Mun nana ba mun nga def lolu.
Please write it down.
Néna mun nga ko bind pour nga baña faté.
Thank you. So why I said that is because the same law that provides for the authority for expenditure, section 305 of the financial manual. Section 306 states. Same thing, monetary thresholds in emergency cases as well. That council should approve. The same with the authority for expenditure, council should approve. So not the chairman or the mayor or the mayoress. There should be a resolution. From council to say that CEO up to $100,000, you cannot go beyond this.
And ñu dal dina CEO after 100,000 and do mëna def wala dem lu nga xamne dafa egg wala dafa ëpp lool.
After $100,000, you must seek for clearance. You must consult the mayoress as the case is in Banjo.
And dépasse bi su ëppé 100,000 lu war moy da nga wara sét nga dal yégal mayoress bi.
The same resolution should also state
resolution bi tamit dafa wara wone ne
that mayoress, you cannot approve payments beyond $500,000.
ina te yow mayoress tamit bobu dafa la wara won ne munno def fee bi nga xamne ëpp na 500,000.
If it exceeds this,
neena su ëppé lolu
you must bring it to council.
neena war dafa war pour nga yow isi ko ci council.
So if the council did not pass that resolution,
neena légui resolution bobu nga xamne fa teggu council suñu len ko passer pour wol len ko.
it's two things. Is either council did not know,
nena ñaari affaire la ndax council bena bi mën nañ wax ne council xamul,
or they knew but failed to do that.
nena kon ñaarel bi moy xam nañ ko waye fail nañ pour def lool.
Do you understand?
nena lool leer na ci yow.
Mun naa remember benn time ñu doon wax affaire yi ne CEO war to spend more than 500,000.
I can remember there was a time that it was said that the CEO cannot expend more than an amount of 500,000.
Why I can't remember any time when the decision
But I cannot remember any time that the decision was
taken in council.
A decision was taken in council
Pour one in the ceiling.
to show that we need to have a ceiling.
Why Lena tamit mom la bëgg wax fi.
But one thing I want to make it clear here,
So say the spending of Banjul City Council.
if you check the expenditure of Banjul City Council,
Banjul City Council dafa nekk council boo xam ne financial muscle sami.
but Banjul City Council is a council which you know that the financial muscles.
It's an society within 8 years.
If you check about 8 years ago,
Within 8 years.
If you check about 8 years, within 8 years,
You spend 500,000.
what you spend, the amount we spend for 500,000
Above 500,000.
or above 500,000,
Ben one off 500,000.
it's only one time.
No. When you spend one of 500,000.
Or when we spend the 500,000,
So I said the 8 years you move
and if you check the 8 years while I was serving,
so everybody do pass it 5, 6, 7 times.
if you count it, it will be less than 6 to 7 times.
Because council bundawla,
Because it's a small council,
hali some Tollywood noon.
and the monies or the finance is not very much.
Na mom fum dore di ame spending bubari.
Because where we started doing much expenditure,
More is the EU project.
that is when we get into the EU project.
Why put mu gene 500,000 legi jënd dara.
But to pull out 500,000 to say we are going to buy something,
Mënuma ko remember lu passé juróomi yoon ba juróom benn yoon.
I cannot remember that more than 5 to 6 times.
You mean individuals isolated cases of expenditure or the yearly expenditure?
Then allow me come yen sen dépense bi wala at bi yépp.
Suñ lan
Néna lu mo laajte di dépense boobu ngay wax 500,000 bi néna dafa nekk loo xam ne da ngeen ko dépense pour at bi yépp la wala?
non pour comme benn yoon one off ñu jënd dara.
No, it's just once occasion, just for instance to buy something.
Let's say for instance you want to purchase furniture.
Néna dafa mel ni dañ jël examples comme nga bëgg a jënd ay bagages néeg.
Yes, but what would be very ideal in this circumstance is the overall expenditure in a given year. Is the overall expenditure in a given year.
Néna légui bu ñu sét na lolu dafa nekk loo xam ne dépense bi nga xam ne yépp pour at bi la.
Waaw lu nga wax dëgg la dama la bëgg a woon rek ne la.
Yes, because what I said is true. As you said, that might be council, we are not aware.
So
as I said, because there are nothing like a ceiling of which if the CEO is to spend more than 500,000, you need to inform council. I know maybe that comes once or twice in the year.
No, that will only be an example.
Example.
You can even say that $50,000 it has to be cleared by the mayors.
For instance, 50,000
even $10,000
10,000.
Depending on what the council decides. You know your budget, you know your income in the end of the year, realistic, literally you know how much money you generate, so you can decide based on that.
Nena lolu mun na nek sa xalaat parce que yow sa bopa ya xam ñaata nga denca wala lo am ci xaalis ñaata nga jéni ci xaalis wala lu ñaata fa nekka.
So I was just giving an example.
Nena lolu mom just example la rek.
Of the idea that you should have the threshold.
Nena pour woné né yow dafa war pour nga am threshold.
Now back to my question.
Nena so délo ci laajte bi.
Did council know about this authority for expenditure?
Nena nda council yeg nañ authority bi pour mbiri dépense loi bu tegu.
Or that they do not know?
Wala ñaaral bi nda yegulen ko. Xamulen ko.
Councillors nañ ko xam because we have seasoned councillors yoo xam ne ñu ngi fa woon balaa council bi sax.
Council are aware that she told that there are councils who were there before these people.
So the lack of, in the absence of issuing or passing a resolution for the adherence to the authority for expenditure, would that be deliberate then?
Nena kon pour nga gis ne jox leen resolution bi nga xam ne wala jox leen ko xam ne kooku moo war pour def dépense mu ñaaka ko kon loolu dafa mel ni du def leen seen warugal wala seen yoon.
How lan moo nekk seen mind si at that time?
I don't know what was in their mind at that time.
waaye wax naa leen ne man suma bopp jëloon naa jéego.
But as I said, as myself, I have taken action.
Ma binda.
Wrote.
Te du benn yoon du ñaari yoon.
And it's not one, not twice.
waaye workut.
But it doesn't work.
But on your side, yes. But on council's side, it can only be deliberate because they've already told us that they knew that they had this authority to put the ceiling. They never put the ceiling. It's a failure on council's side.
And I see yow sa bopa waaw dëgg la loolu moom def nga sawar nga nee na waaye soo seetee pour council dem nañ comme yow sa bopa wax nga ne yëg nañ ko te defuñu ko nee na kon loolu dafa nekk loo xam ne dafa manqué loolu si liggéey bi.
waaw buñ teel a wax ne jëliñ ko mun naa am tamit mun nañ mus nañ ko wax ma fàtte.
If I say that probably they have ever told me and I forgot.
So ñu seet ñu demaat back si minutes rek.
No, we have to go back to the minutes.
So the issue is, if they've ever passed a resolution like that, we have interviewed the CEO, we don't even see a council generally that would adhere to this regulation.
Nena su fekkee ne resolution bu dañ ko pass nena wax nañ fi ak CEO bi nena waaye dara wone te council yi sax am na ñoo xam ne sax definitely resolution bi dañ ko tegu si kaw seen kanam.
Some have it as a matter of practice.
Nena am na ñoo xam ne dañ ko am as a matter of practice.
Like for instance, in KMC.
Nena waaye soo ko seetee KMC.
Some will say that if we need to make a payment up to $100,000.
am na ñoo xam ne dañ dee wax ne suñu bëggee def fay bu dem ba $100,000.
You must consult the Lord Mayor Ahmed Bensouda.
Nena fokk ñu consult Lord Mayor Bensouda.
One or two will say it is $200,000.
am na ñoo xam ne dañoo wax ne $200,000.
Some will give you a different figure.
am na ñoo xam ne tamit dañ lay di jox njëg bi nga xam ne bokkut.
They don't have a resolution.
Nena amuñu resolution.
At least we haven't seen it.
because gisuñu ko.
They didn't produce it.
Nena mosuñu ko wone fii.
But at least they will tend to have that practice in council.
Nena waaye ñooñu dañu wone ne am nañ practice boobu si council.
Again, my opinion is,
Nena ñaareel bi si xalaatam bi mooy.
it will even be wrong for them, KMC,
Nena da nga gis ne KMC loolu sax dafa nekk yoon boo xam ne jubut.
to even have the practice
pour practice bi.
and not have the resolution to
te
follow.
amuñu resolution.
But I'm just saying that that is how, like you were saying, sometimes the actual operations of council is different from what the law says.
Nena te loolu soo ko seetee mu ngi laa bantuwaat comme yow wax nga ko fii ne am na doxal bi nga xam ne da ngeen ko dee doxal dafa àndut ak resolution si.
And we want to know why.
Nena te dañ bëgg a xam lan am na tax loolu.
And you've helped us to say.
Nena te yow da nga ñu jàppale nga dal di ñu leeral ne.
You've helped us. You helped the commission to state.
Nena da nga ñu jàppale commission bi ñu dal di state ne.
That for instance, BCC, you don't have that.
Nena BCC wax nga ne yéen am nañ ko.
And the general council is very, to be honest, is very, let me say, equipped with experienced councillors, so they must be in the position to know.
Nena te general council am na ñoo xam ne ñoom am nañ xam-xam lu mel ni loolu te ñoom tamit am nañ dañ war pour xam ko.
That's why I said if they didn't do it, then it's deliberate.
Nena lii moo tax mu ne su fekkee ne defuñu ko wala defuñu ko kon dafa mel ni dañ ko tey.
Do you understand?
Nena nangu nga loolu.
Wow. And
yes.
lead council foog naa bëgg naa pour nga understand leen tamit.
And lead council, I want you to understand one thing.
Banjul City Council is very, very different from other councils.
Banjul City Council is very, very different from other councils.
ñun bu ñoo ñëw si council bi.
When we came or we are coming to council,
benn page of handing over sax loo xam ne moo ñoo direct amuñ ko.
we don't even have a single page of handing over.
And most of us were new.
And most of us, we were new.
So luñ starté yëpp di ko doon def.
All what we started doing.
mun nga xëy na soo ko seetee 90% of liñ doon def yëpp dañ fa wrong.
And if you check, probably all the 90% of what we have done was wrong.
liñ doon demee rek mooy.
Because the way we were moving or doing things were.
nii la ko ñii doon defee nii la ko ñii doon defee.
As okay, these people were doing it like this, so let us follow him. Or that is how they were doing it. That is how we were doing.
loolu moom dëgg la mu fa woon.
That is true. That was happening there.
So xëy na loolu yëpp moo indi tamit.
And I think all that is the cause of.
Because we are more into nii lañ ko doon defee than even luwaa bi lu wax.
As I said, we follow the people who were saying, oh, we do as they were doing it like that, differently from what the law says.
Because so bëggee dem too much si luwaa bi tam.
Because if you want to follow the law too much,
di nga am blockage feneen.
you'll have a blockage somewhere.
No, you don't have a blockage.
No, don't have blockage.
The law will give you, if you follow it.
Then the law do have a so-called topic.
It's not perfect.
Then the prophet.
It's not perfect.
It's not perfect.
In fact, it has so many areas that need to be reviewed and amended. Even
perhaps
to help you in administration on a daily basis. But it's more perfect than not having or following regulations. No, it's better than not having or not following the structure, not following the law. No.
Understand now?
Yes.
Very well.
Yes. So.
Yes, I still understood very well what you are trying to say, but now I still want you to understand that I am the one sitting on that position. And I took out here, I don't want to sit here and now I'll be very shameful to do that, and later on I'll be very ashamed to do that here. But I had a lot. You know, truly speaking, I was not even aware of that. But as I said, what you learn as a leader, some of things you need to know. If you agree and you need to make it clear,
for the interest of the
person coming tomorrow.
For the interest of accountability and transparency.
And that is accountability and transparency.
So talk to my position.
If you don't sit at my position, what I'm saying you will not understand. What I want to tell you is that
the system is polluted.
The system is polluted.
Why so talk I'm
not talking about other councils. I am specifically on my own council. You will not know. So a lot of things happened. But later I think all those things will be revealed.
Understand.
That is where you should understand. Or you will understand what I know and what I don't.
Why did I respect this commission?
What I want to assure you that the respect that I have for this commission
appreciate commission
and the appreciation that I have for this commission,
because commission it
seems the commission came specifically for me to make my legacy. I will have nothing to say that I will hide. No.
Again,
and however difficult it is, I will tell you this is how it happened. Because I had a lot hearing. And I know that does not help the commission.
Again, thank you very much. Again, this is the intention of the commission. You are very right. It's not easy to be a leader. It's more or less to be the leader of a whole jurisdiction, of a whole area council or city council.
Wala ka nekk njiit boo xam ne pour city council wala area council.
It's very, very difficult.
Dafa naxari lu naxari la.
And so we know, even if we're not there, we understand
ñu xam yëg nañ ko xam nañ
how
fa
difficult
nekkoon
it is.
xam nañ ko naxaraay fa nekk.
And more so,
soo seetee tamit
to answer to the public
pour nga tontu si mbooloo
regarding how the administration of the area council was done.
pour nga gis ne pour leeral mbiri administration council naka la meloon.
To even willingly come.
boobu moom def nga ko si saxaat willing bi.
Participating. To help give information.
pour nga jàppale ñu am information.
It's also commendable no matter how difficult it is.
loolu tamit nekk na loo xam ne dañ la gërëm nu mënta naxari na.
It is noted.
yëg nañ ko.
So back to the issue.
suñ dellee si mbir mi.
What I was discussing with you.
luñ nekkoon di waxtaan ak yow mooy.
Is that there are so many payments.
am na fay yu bari.
That councils will engage on.
yi nga xam ne council war na engage si fay yooyu.
In this case, BCC.
si BCC.
That will appear to not be in line.
Société àndut ak mbir mi.
With regulation.
ak loi.
Now, we have talked about the financial manual.
wax nañ fi affaire financial manual.
The Finance and Audit Act.
Financial Audit Act.
Finance and Audit Act. Financial Audit Act for local government area councils.
For local government area councils.
The Local Government Act.
The Local Government Act.
Procurement regulations. Does council follow all this?
Council daf dee toppal loi yëpp lu la lebal ni.
In deciding which dalasi goes to where, or how the monies of council are spent.
si biir nga xam ne mooy xaalis koppar bi ngeen am ne council naka ngeen koy dépenser.
loolu nekkul suma liggéey.
That is not my job.
Administration ñoo def loolu.
The administration used to do that.
waaye dama rafet njort ne.
But I think so for them too.
ñu ngi ko doon def ni ñu ko war ni mu correcté.
They were doing accordingly.
parce que léegi-léegi ma gis ay kayit yoo xam ne.
Because sometimes I do see some documents.
ñu ne GPPA la jógee.
They said those documents are from the GPPA.
su nit ñëwee for example bugga dara like for example gaamu am.
When somebody came and needed something, for instance, a gamo,
church bi xewle dara.
or church we need something.
suñ ñëwee ma minute ko.
When they came, I minute that.
dama ko minute bu dem si CEO bi.
I minute it, and after it passes to the CEO.
waaye pour man.
For me,
because all those line of expenditure boobu noonu.
all those lines of expenditure.
They are all budgeted for.
They are all budgeted for.
Because am nañ religious budget.
Because we have religious budget.
Am nañ culture.
We have culture.
Etc. and so forth.
Etc. and so forth.
So scholarship amee.
So when it happens, scholarship part.
ma minute ko jox ko.
I minute and give it to him.
pour man foofu la ko jëlee si budget boobu noonu.
Well, for me, I think thinking that he will get it from the shared budget.
So foog naa ne tamit ne procedures yi they were going on.
And I thought that all the procedures were going on.
Rightly.
The Lord Mayor, it is your job. It is job of council. In fact, the law makes it your job and the job of council. In fact, the CEO is answerable to council. Let me read to you administrative structure of council.
Administrative structure of
council. The Local Government Act.
Council. Local Government Act.
It says the Chief Executive, section 42 sub 1.
Chief Executive, subsection 1.
42 sub 1.
42 sub 1.
There shall be a chief executive for each council whose office shall be an office in local government service and shall, subject to the provisions of this act, be subject to terms and conditions which may be prescribed. 2. A chief executive shall be appointed by local government service commission after consultation with the chairperson, who may attend all proceedings and deliberations of the commission when considering the appointment of a chief executive. 3. The applications for the office of the chief executive shall be submitted to council for its prior comments, and you have functions of the chief executive. 43 sub 1. The chief executive shall manage the affairs of the council and shall be answerable to the council and be subject to its direction and control. Sub 2 says, a chief executive shall, in the exercise of his or her functions, report to the chairperson. Do you see this?
Wow.
Yes. So it is the responsibility of
Yes.
council and the responsibility of the chairperson, as the case may be, the mayor, as the case may be, or the mayor, as the case may be.
Nena lesa responsible council, mayor, chairperson.
The chief executive is not working in isolation.
Nena CEO bi nego delegate mom nena wala mom ken.
He is not the most powerful in council.
Nena te nego ne mo jina am dole si council.
Council is the most powerful, then the mayor or mayoress, then the chief executive.
Nena council mo ko jina am dole, mayor mo ko jina am dole, then nga am CEO.
Do you understand that?
Nena leer na.
I totally agree.
I totally agree.
Waaye foog naa di nga nangu tamit ne
But I think you two will agree that
council every month benn yoon day toog, for example.
council every month we used to have sittings once.
The CEO ak mayor bi bokkuñ yoon.
The CEO and the mayor, they are not of the same way.
Even though loi bi wax na ne dafa war a answerable to mayor bi.
Then, as the law said, he is answerable to the mayor.
Waaye going back si ni ma la waxoon ci njëlbeen.
But going back to what I have told the commission before,
lim ma wax rek laa mën a xam.
whatever he told me is what I am aware.
Lu ma waxut mënuma koo xam.
Whatever he don't inform me, I cannot be able
The
to.
structure of council ni mu demee.
And the structure of council,
luñ bëgg ma xam laay xam luñ bëggul ma xam mënuma mus ma ko waane nga xam ko.
whatever they want me to know, I will know. But if something that they don't want to know, me to know, I will never know.
No, let me assist you in that.
Nena mu jàppal la si loolu.
If you have the right structures,
Nena soo fekkee ne da ngeen bind structures.
there's no way
Nena amul benn yoon.
that anything will happen
loo xam ne xew na foofu.
in your backyard
si sa biir mbir mi.
without you.
te yow yëguloo ko.
It's like a family.
ne dafa mel ni famille.
It's like the father and the mother.
ne dafa mel ni baay ak yaay.
You have to know.
war nga xam.
You must know.
te yow da nga war mu xam.
Maybe not 100%.
nee na mun naa nekk 100%.
That is why you will be aided by other institutions like National Audit.
nee na lii moo tax dañ la war a jàppale di aider loo xam ne dafa nekk yeneen institution lu mel ni audit.
You will be helped by internal audit.
nee na internal audit dañ lay jàppale.
You will be assisted by procurement.
nee na procurement tamit dañ lay jàppale.
These are independent institutions within or outside the area councils.
nee na lii nekk na ay institution yi nga xam ne ñu ngi taxaw seen boppa wala daa ñu ngi si biir area council wala ñu ngi si biir.
That will help council.
naa na loolu dina jàppale council.
Any council.
council bu nekk.
The CEO wants to hold information, wants to not transmit certain information.
nee na CEO su fekkee ne bëggut laa jox wala bëggut laa yëgal lu xew.
At the end of the year,
nee na su at bi jeexee.
every quarter,
nee na quota bu nekk.
there should be reporting mechanisms.
nee na da nga gis ne am na ay xibaar ay reporting mechanism yi.
You have committees of council.
am nga committees council committees.
If they are effective,
nee na su fekkee ne ñoom dañ nekk ak council bu effective.
you at least have 7% of information you need to have.
da nga gis ne xibaar yu bëri yi nga xam ne da nga ko soxla pour am ko wala yegg ko da nga koo jot.
Do you understand?
nee na dégg nga loolu.
Lead council.
yes lead council.
wallaay ni nga ko waxee dafa yomb torop.
as you said, as you are saying, it is very simple.
And trust me, that's how it's supposed to be there.
te ni nga ko waxee noonu.
And as you said,
noonu la war a nekkee.
that is how it should.
waaye xam nga yow yaa ngi ko waxee ci biir buggi lu waa.
But as far as you are saying it true from the law,
so nga fàttaliku ne.
and you remember that
CEO bi ak ay ngoñam.
CEO has his insight,
xam nañ si seen bopp bi ne.
and they know very well that,
ne mayor bi yóbbuwut leen fa.
and the mayor does not bring them there,
xam nañ ne mayor bi mënul leen a daax.
and they know that the mayor cannot be able to
xam nañ ne mayor bi
dismiss
mënul
them,
leen a suspend.
and they know that I cannot suspend them,
xam nañ ne mayor bi mënul leen a wax ne seen bët baa ngi xonxa.
and the mayor cannot tell them that your eyes are red.
so yaa ngi try pour waxal ma lu waa.
So I know you are trying to tell me about the law,
man tam maa ngi try pour wax la li ma dunda.
and I'm too trying to tell you how I survived.
te foog ñëwuñ si ñu tase.
Unless we come, we all met,
council si du musa baax.
councils will never be good.
All right.
man dama dee tukki ak suma colleagues yi.
I used to travel with my colleagues,
dama leen dee ñëwee.
but I used to.
because ñooñu ñoo dee indi seen CEO.
It's time for break. Let me just respectfully cut you short. I will chairperson. It's time for break. I've been informed by the registrar.
Yes, we normally have a 30-minute recess We will come back after 30 minutes. We may rise.
Good afternoon, Madam Witness. Welcome back. You may kindly take your seat. Madam Witness, for continuation of your testimony before this Commission of Inquiry into Local Government Councils and related matters, I want to remind you once again that you are still on the oath. Before I hand you over to Madam Chair for us to proceed. Thank you. Madam Chair, over to you.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor. You are welcome back.
Afternoon.
Thank you. Council, can we please proceed?
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. You were explaining before we went on break the CEO and the mayors, as the case may be.
Explain what the break a very CEO mayor.
Do you want to proceed before I ask my question?
Well, waxtaan nañ ci mooy ne comme wax naa la ma ne la amuñ a threshold.
As I said, I think we have discussed that already before we left. As I said, we don't have a threshold.
So te foog naa ne tam suñ spending si yëpp mu doon dem in line of loi bi naka la ko waxee.
And as I said, all their expenditures was online with the law.
No, it was not. That is the issue. It was not because the law was not followed.
Nena dede nena andut ak loi bi parce que société ñom ñoo di doxal mbir mi ak loi bi andut.
Because if they have they are spending money unilaterally
dépense bi nga xamné ñu ko di def
without the necessary check and balance,
then there
is a risk of misappropriation of funds.
And
mismanagement of funds.
Mismanagement of funds.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Well,
yes.
That is the reason why there has to be adherence to the regulations.
Understand?
You know Fatou Mbenga?
wow.
Yes.
And who is Fatou Mbenga?
Mooy deputy PRO bi.
Deputy PRO.
And who was PRO?
PRO?
Modou Lamine bi ba.
Modou Lamine bi ba.
Now, there were several payments
made
to Fatou Mbenga. Now, I will show you the vouchers. You have voucher number 0000, sorry, BCC PV220000417.
Nena bera boy buñe ka bi bobu la lay won number bi la mo wani 00.
You have 22001145.
22111045.
Yes, all these vouchers were payments made to Fatou Mbenga.
Nena neka na voucher yo xamne fe bi xamne def nañ ko Fatou Mbenga.
All of those payments made to Fatou Mbenga were apparently made in her name
nena def nañ ko ci turam
waaw
as per directives from you.
nena te nekk na loo xam ne yow yaa leen xelal pour ñu def ko
She was acting
parce que moom mu ngi nekkoon active
as per your instructions.
ci kaw yow sa kaddu yi nga xam ne yaa ko instruct
Is that correct?
nena daal loolu dëgg la
bépp loo xam ne Fatou Menga daf ko request
all that Fatou Menga requested
from A to Z
from A to Z
man maa ko wax
I told her
And why is that?
nena lu tax loolu
wax naa la ko ma ne la
I told you that
suñ soxlee dara
whenever we need something
we make a request
we do make a request
request dañoo def to the CEO
we make a request to the CEO
so now it's left to the CEO
now it left to the CEO
mun nañu waaw or déedéet
to say yes or no.
soo seetee benn si request yi foofu
If you check one of the requests,
it's from the General Council
it's from the General Council
pour ñu help the flood victims
to help the flood victims.
But the money cannot be requested by the office of the Lord Mayor to decide as to how to spend this money. It's the issue.
Then why so say the halis be what a neka request we am ne Lord Mayor mo ko wara request pour wone naka lañ ko wara dépasser nena leen moy wax bi
lii council
lead council
musu ñoo am request boo xam ne dañoo ne mayor bi moom moo ko spend naka la ko bëggee loolu musta am dañoo def mooy we request the money
that have never happened. There is no request that indicate that it's the mayor who says he need that to be expended in this way. No.
Fatou Menga lu mu wax was very clear mayor
What-
ma instruct pour ma def request bi
What Fatou have said is very clear that I advise her to make a request.
so this is ñun suñ boss stop bi fu mu em mooy make the request
And what the powers we have or where to stop it, that means to make a request.
so pour naka lañ ko implémenter loolu dafa def CEO bi naka la ko bëggee
But the implementation is left with the CEO the way he like it.
nekkut ne xaalis dañ ko dee jël dugal ko si baak indi ko suma office comme nu ma ko déggee ñu ko interpréter
It doesn't mean that they put money in the bag and bring it to my office as the way I had them interpreted it.
flood victims yi
The flood victims,
for example
for instance,
it was made through assessment
it have made true assessment.
What kind of assessment?
Then about for assessment.
comme ku nekk victime bi lan la soxla
For
soxla na
instance,
lii soxla na lële
each of the victims, how you needed or you wanted.
we take it to General Council and it's there in the memo
We took that to the General Council and it is on the memo.
General Council
Who did the assessment?
Nena kan mo def assessment bi
ñoom Modou Lamine Biba si la bokkoon
Modou Lamine Biba parce
They
que
cannot do that.
si Red Cross si lañ bokkoon
Red Cross was involved.
But they cannot do that.
Nena ñu mëna def loolu.
There is a procedure for expenditure.
Nena dafa am yoon pour dépense bi.
no I'm not saying ne ñoom ñoo doon spend
I don't say
dama ne assessment bi
I'm talking about the assessments.
So who was spending?
Nena kan mo nekkan di dépense
kan moo nekka
di dépense spend.
the office of the CEO so they gave the money ñun ñu def mooy we request for the money
What
so
we-
the money biñ ko jëlee ñu jox ko Fatou Menga
What we did, we request for the money, and when we got the money, it was given to Fatou Menga.
so through the need assessment we pay that money to these people
Through the assessment, we then paid these monies to this,
ñooñu ñëpp ñu ngi fa
and they were all there.
and
Who
the
does the payment?
Nena kan mo def fay bi
Fatou Menga
Fatou Menga.
That is what is wrong.
Nena loolu mo àndut ak yoon.
waaw I totally agree ak yow
I-
nangu naa ko waaye at that time
I agree, but it happens at the time.
soo ma ko waxoon sax du ma ko doon nangu
If at all it is myself, I will not even agree,
because we thought we were doing the right thing
because that was not the right thing.
It is good you are admitting.
Nena ba na ko come yang nagu.
Please listen to what she's saying and you interpret it rightly.
Very well.
Because she has said that at that time she thought she was doing the right thing and you did not interpret
Very well.
it.
Thank you, man.
I said it is good that you are honorable in admitting.
Nena ba na de nena da nga nekk koo xam ne da nga dee nangu.
waaw because dama ñëw fii pour jàng xam nga tey su loolu xewaatee
Yes,
su
because
loolu xewaatee Banjul
I came here to learn if that happens again in Banjul,
dinañ ko defee a different way
we will be doing it in a different way.
Because, for instance, this voucher of $400,000
Then associated voucher bi mooy $400,000.
where the payment description reads cash allocation to flood victims.
Nena li nga xam ne voucher bi li fa bind mooy cash allocation to victims, flood victims.
Where you have a letter, a memo from the Lord Mayor.
Nena li nga xam ne am nga letter bu jógee ci Lord Mayor.
To the Assistant Public Relations Officer.
To the Assistant Public Relations Officer.
The subject is General Council's resolution on the need to assist the Banjul flood victims.
Nena lu bind foofu mooy General Assistance to help the Banjul flood victims.
To need to assist the Banjul flood victims.
Need to assist the Banjul flood victims.
Now, following a resolution by the General Council on the 2nd of August 2022.
And associated General Council's resolution we have the 2nd of
August 2022.
August 2022.
To assist victims of the recent Banjul flooding.
And to assist the victims of Banjul flooding. Pour jàppale ñoo xam ne ñu nekk Banjul ñi nga xam ne am nañ problème ndox.
I am proposing on behalf of the General Council to raise an amount of $400,000.
Nee na loolu bind nañ ko nee na mu ngi propose pour nga raise xaalis bi nga xam ne dem na ba $400,000.
To assist the above mentioned victims.
Pour jàppale ñoo ñi nga xam ne am nañ teexa ndox.
Bearing in mind that the council is not presently financially buoyant.
Nee na waaye ba léegi bàyyi nga xel ne council ba léegi lu ñu amee si xaalis daal nekkut ne nekkut xaalis bi bëri.
Now, the request for interest for support.
Nee na loolu ñu xam ne bind nañ interest for support.
That was written.
Nee na bind nañ ko.
By the Assistant Public Relations Officer Fatou Mbenga.
By Fatou Mbenga mooy
addressed to the Chief Executive Officer via the Director of Finance.
Relationship te daf ko address to
the CEO.
The CEO.
Via the Director of Finance.
Via the Director of Finance.
Because I write on behalf of the Mayor.
Then I bind na ko si turi Mayor.
To request for $400,000.
Di laajte xaalis bu dem ba $400,000.
As council support to the flood victims.
Pour nga gis ne loolu dana nekk jàppale bi nga xam ne council loolu la ñoo jàppale flood victims.
Now, who was this money given to? Who were the flood victims? How were they given this money? Do we have a retirement for this?
Nee na léegi kan moo fay xaalis bi ñan ñooy victime yi ak naka lañ jotee xaalis bi nee na ndaa mën nañ am retirement.
Yes, it's a question.
Nee na laajte la.
I am so ne Fatou Mbenga dina war a def retirement bi.
I'm sure Fatou Mbenga will do the retirement.
Te alhamdulillah ñi jox xaalis bi.
And blessing to God, the monies, those he gave the monies to.
Foog naa ñëpp a ngi dunda de ñu fa.
I think they are all alive.
And foog naa dina si yokkale na tam.
And I think I will add some to it.
400,000 bi.
This 400,000.
Yóbbu wutoon victims si fenn.
That does not take the victims anywhere.
Man personally suma family.
For me personally, my family.
Spend about 350,000 extra si loolu.
They have spent more than 350,000.
Moo tax it was very painful.
This is why, or that was why it is very painful. It was
so
very
painful. Interpret as Fatou Mbenga dafa jël xaalis bi ñëw indi ko suma office jox ma ko man.
To interpret like Fatou Mbenga took the monies and bring it to my office.
As I said
earlier,
the process might be wrong.
The process might be wrong.
The process is wrong.
Okay, it's wrong.
It's wrong, yes.
Now, the amount, like I've always been saying, my position with the lawyers is that even if it is $1, it's public funds. And there's a law that governs how to do expenditure with respect to public funds. Now, who do we know the entire victims of this flood?
Victims of the flood.
How many Fatou Mbenga mu ngi amee kayit or not, but this was very transparent because NDMA am nañ the how to call it, am nañ list bi. Banjul City Council was having the list, and I think even Red Cross might even have the list because ñoom ñoo doon def need assessment.
I think Fatou Mbenga may have the records or the list because this was very transparent All these records of, if it in BCC, we have the list. The Red Cross too, they have the list of those victims.
And again,
and I want to add something to it.
Fatou Menga was just a messenger.
Fatou Menga did nothing because she was just a messenger. I was the person who said, advised him to do that. I wrote it. She wrote it, so I wrote to the CEO. And the money was given to her. And implemented the process.
So she followed your instructions?
Then a mom con instructions and that of the CEO.
Because the process of
because the process of how we are going to spend the money.
How implement it.
How are we going to implement?
Lulu is not my mandate.
That is not my mandate.
Man lima mun moy.
What all I know, what I think was,
lima General Council Santa.
What the General Council advised me to do. That is what I did.
Was there a committee?
Why to sum it up?
Was there a committee for
I'm the committee.
400,000. Was there a committee to decide who receives what, whether it's $1 or $2?
Nena da 400,000 bi dafa am committee bi nga xamne ñoo wara taxaw pour xam ki ñaata lañ ko wara jokkale ñaata la wara.
Why fogna wax na ne there was an assessment buñ def ba pare.
I said that I think I have told that there was an assessment before the payment.
Li ñu drive up to 400,000 bi.
What drive us to the amount of 400,000?
Dafa wara nekk di assessment bi nga xamne mom lañ amé mom lañ am.
It's to the assessment that we had.
You can produce the assessment.
Nena legi pour nga def sakata nga ci assessment.
Head na mu laaj ko di CEO.
I think if the CEO is asked about it.
Because man amuma.
Because I don't have it.
No, the CEO did not say there's an assessment.
CEO waxut ne dafa am assessment bu am.
That is why it will be difficult for me to ask the CEO.
Ne wata mom kon dana na xare pour mom laajte CEO.
Waaye léegi su ma demee dinaa ko laajte the CEO bi fa nekk because dina fa war a nekk moom.
I think if I go back I will ask the CEO presently there.
Fatou Menga was also paid $30,000 for disbursement of media coverage for the 4th town hall meeting on Saturday 19th of March 2022.
Then Fatou Menga tamit joxe nañ ko lu dem $30,000 yi nga xam ne loolu pour yóbbu ko si radio bi lu ñëw waa media coverage bi.
It was paid to her.
Nee na fay nañ ko si loxo si moom lañ ko fay.
Under your instructions.
Nee na te loolu yow boobu tamit sa kaddu la.
It's also wrong.
Nee na loolu tamit nekk na loo xam ne warut.
Why did council foog naa dag ma déglu bu baax li ma la wax de.
Council, I think you don't hear me very well as what I have said.
Man dama la ko nangul ma ne la.
I agree to you that.
I totally agree.
I totally agree.
Ne la process bi was wrong.
The process was totally wrong.
Bu tey nekkoon dimba.
If at all today will be like yesterday.
Duñ ko defee noonu.
We will not do it like that.
And I think that the office of the mayor should be guided.
And I think the office of the mayor should be guided.
Man li ma mun rek mooy request laa def.
All I do request.
Lii lañ bugga.
We need this.
Why it's not for me to say that nii lañ ko war a defee.
But it's not for me to decide how it is to be done.
Waaye Fatou si suma ron la nekk.
But Fatou was under me.
Su fekkee ne Fatou dafa defoon mistake sax.
If at all Fatou did a mistake, even.
Man dama war a honorable pour jël loolu.
I need to be honorable to take over that.
So lu ma wax commission bi mooy ne.
So what I want to inform the commission is that.
Loolu xew na.
That had happened.
Su nekkoon tey.
If at all it is today.
Neneen lañ ko defee.
It will be done this way.
Again, I understand.
Again,
I commend you for your cooperation. Because it is individual cases.
Because I have
to take one after the other. Because that's the procedure. Because the payment for media coverage is different from the payment of, let's say, monies for flood victims.
Then associated has become a fair flood victims, has become a fair media coverage, and
I still know it's a general, it can be general.
Then I'm not a low general.
And so admitted to the fact that the process was wrong. But let's just still exhaust some few of these vouchers. Do you understand? Now, the media coverage, for instance. If Fatou Menga requests for the amount on your behalf,
Nena Fatou dafa laajte xaalis bi si kaw sa kàddu.
And the payment is made to Tourist Media Consultancy.
Nena te fay bi fu ñu ko def mooy Touré Media Consultancy.
The question is, how did you contract Tourist Media Consultancy?
Nena laajte bi mooy naka nga demee ba tànn Touré Media Consultancy nga contract jokko contract.
foog naa waxoon naa la ko ci beginning bi ma ne la.
I think I have told you at the beginning that
niñ daan demee mooy.
the way we were going was
nii la ko council daan defee nii lañ ko defee.
like this is what they always do. This is what council normally do. This is how they do.
amul si benn process buñ jaar.
We don't have any process that we follow.
dañoo seet comme ne GRTS nañ soxla si suñ programme bi.
We will see and check if we need GRTS in our program.
ñu oo GRTS.
We call them.
ñu seet ne Fatou Network lañ soxla.
If we need Fatou Network,
ñu call Fatou Network.
we call Fatou Network.
noonu rek la woon.
That was how we were.
But why is that?
Nee na lu tax loolu.
foog naa wax naa ko ma waxaat ko.
I think I have said that and I will repeat it.
And especially when it comes to media.
Nee na especially when it comes to media.
leneen mosut a ñëw si suñ xel mi.
No, nothing have came to our mind.
loolu xaaral ñu seet fi nga xam ne moo gën a am visibility.
To see that let us check where we can have more visibility.
te ba tey maa wax ak yow nii.
And even today I'm talking to you.
benn tey noonu lañ ko dee defee de suñu amee coverage.
That is how we normally do it till now.
we just call
whenever
them
we have coverage, we just call.
Is it that you do not know the procedures involved?
Ndax xamuleen yoon bi nga xam ne boobu moo tëral.
Or that it was just simply disregarded?
Wala just da ngeen ko xam waaye yéena ko faale.
Lead counsel.
Lead counsel.
foog naa wax naa ko waxaat ko.
I think I said that and I will say it again.
man li ma mën a def mooy su ma bëgg laa am.
All what I can say is that I know what I wanted.
am nañ programme.
We have a program.
ma ne leen ABC ñu ñëw.
And I advise them or I say to them that call NBC for them to come.
Call media bi mu ñëw.
Or call the media to come.
But the process of naka la ñoo ooyee media bi.
But the process of calling the media.
wax dëgg yàlla boobu tam nangul ma ko boobu du si man.
To truly speaking.
Because am na ñoo xam ne dañ leen di fay ñoom tam pour loolu mooy seen liggéey.
I know there are people who used to pay and that is their work.
Lord Mayor, this is difficult.
Then why dafa naxare na.
On my part.
Si side
to understand.
Pour mu mun a understand lu
The reason is.
Nee na lu tax mooy.
And that's what I want to understand.
Nee na loolu la bëgg.
Because for instance, where there's a law that says payment should be made in this format.
Nee na su fekkee ne am na loi bi nga xam ne dafa tëral ne fay bi nii la ñu ko war a def.
And it is done quite the opposite.
Nee na waaye doon def nañ ko waaye li ñu ko defee àndut ak mbir mi mu ko waxee.
Now we must ask the obvious question.
Nee na foofa moom laajte rek moo fa war.
Whether
ndax
we knew that the law existed.
ndax yëg nga ne loi am na loi bu tëgal pour loolu.
Or whether
ndax
there was no knowledge of the existence of the law.
Xamuloo wala amuloo xam-xam ne am na loi bu nga xam ne dañ ko tëral.
Because the two are different.
Because ñaari yi bokkuñ.
Because if you knew that there is a law,
nee na soo ko yëgee wala nga yëg ne am na lu ñu tëral loi bu ñu tëral pour loolu.
then it may suggest that the action is deliberate.
nee na booba nit lu war a gis mooy kon li ngeen def da ngeen ko tey.
Know that there is a law governing that.
bu fekkee ne xamuleen ne am na loi bu fa nekk.
It may be that was done by mistake.
nee na kon nit mun na wax ne loolu def ngeen ko waaye juum ngeen.
That is why I'm having this discussion.
nee na lii moo tax bu ngeen waxtaan ak yow.
The same goes with the subsequent mayors that will come and the CEOs. Mr. Bachili is outside.
nee na soo ko seetee yëpp ànd na soo ko seet si CEO bi Mr. Bachili mu ngi si biti.
The other mayors, the CEOs, it's all the same law that's governing.
nee na mayor yi ak CEO yi yëpp benn loi moo leen govern.
That's why I asked, and I asked again, was it done with full knowledge of a law governing the payment structure, or was it done in ignorance of the law governing the payment structure?
nee na lii moo tax mu ngi bëgg a pour nga leeral ko foofu ndax def ngeen ko ci kaw xamuleen ne dafa am loi bu tëral pour loolu wala xam ngeen ko yéen a faaloo leen loi bi.
waaye lii kan su wax naa leen ne the process.
I think I told you the
how
process.
those money were implemented naka lañ ko defee.
Of those monies were implemented. How did we do it?
boobu du suma cër man pour ma wax the process naka la war a demee.
That is not my side for me to tell them how the process should go.
waaye I'm honest enough pour wax la ne.
what I'll be honest enough to tell you that
soo ñëwee si affaire media bi.
if you come to the media,
boobu de wax na suma diggante yàlla laa la wax de.
I'm telling you between myself and God.
ba tey élection amee programme.
Today, tomorrow, if we have program,
dañuy call media bi ne leen kaay leen.
we used to call the media to say come.
so boobu process bi nag.
That process,
boobu xëy na tamit soo ma ko mënee jàngal fii.
if at all, I'll be teach from
I can
here.
promise you ne organ of election amatee programme.
That knowledge, I promise you, tomorrow when you have a program,
neneen lañ koo defee.
that is the way we do it.
Because if you write a question for money,
Nena so bindi request pour xaalis.
it's different from writing requesting for a service.
Nena loolu bokkut pour nga bind wala nga request pour service.
For instance, if you write to say that we need media coverage,
Nena so bindee nga ne bëgg nañ media coverage.
and CEO should facilitate.
Nena te CEO moo war a doxal loolu.
That's different from saying we need $40,000 for media.
Nena loolu àndut wala bokkut ak pour nga bind nga ne bëgg nañ xaalis bu dem ba $400,000.
The difference here is
Nena difference bi mooy.
you are now doing the procurement
Nena léegi yow li nga nekk di def mooy procurement.
when there is already a procurement unit.
Te loolu tax na fekk na yaa ngi am procurement unit.
There's a contracts committee.
Nena mooy contracts committee.
Not Nena Moy. There's also a contracts committee.
Nena am na tamit contract committee.
And there are procurement regulations
Am na procurement regulation.
and procurement act,
Procurement act.
which requires that procurement activities must be done in a certain way.
Nga xam ne procurement act di ngeen ko war a def dafa am yoon boppam.
So that's why I asked that question.
Nena lii moo tax moom laa laajte.
so again yaa ngi wax ne comme man su ma nee CEO facilitate.
I think what you are saying that if I say the CEO to facilitate,
boobu ngaa wax ne ñu ngi bypass the procurement law.
and that is where you are saying that we have bypassed the law.
No,
Mu ne déedéet.
to request for payment
Nena pour request pour laajte affaire yi fay bi.
is not unlawful.
Nena loolu nekkul loo xam ne àndut ak loi bi.
But to be given monies that are meant to follow another process for procurement process,
Nena waaye joxe xaalis bi nga xam ne boobu dafa war a jaar si procurement
for
process.
you to do your own procurement
Pour yow nga def sa own procurement.
would be wrong.
Nena loolu àndut.
That's totally wrong.
Nena loolu moom dafa àndut ak loi.
So my question is, did you know this before or you did not know?
Nena laajte bi mooy yëg nga loi bi wala yëguloo ko.
waaye foog naa lead counsel wax naa la ko waxaat la ma ne la the process is not for me to do.
I think I have cleared that down.
No, the question is whether you knew that there is a procurement process to be followed or you did not know that there is a procurement process to be followed.
Nena léegi pour gàttal wax bi lu mooy laajte mooy ndax yow yëg nga ne dafa am loi bi nga xam ne wala procurement bi nga xam ne da nga war a toppa wala yëguloo ko. ne am na.
How ma ne procurement dañ ko dee war a follow si lu nekk for example like the media for example.
I don't know that we should follow the procurement even for media.
Why would the media be different?
Nena lu tax yooyu war a utee.
I don't know nii lañ ko fa fekkee rek so to be quite honest loolu moom maa ngi ko doon a dégg tey fii wax naa la ne démba sax barka démba bi ñu amee programme we just call the media ñu ñëw.
As I said earlier on, we just inherited it like that, but I don't have an idea to it. And I said, even the day before yesterday, we got a program, and the same way we did.
Should it not be the case that the general council, everybody involved, the mayors, the mayor, the chairperson, the general council, the councillors, everyone present, the clerk, that they, as the supervisory body of council's administration,
Nena ba wata nekk di ñoo xam ne councils bi nga xam ne ñëpp yéen ñoo bokk si councils dañu war a nekk ñoo xam ne dañu war a laajte.
that the general council as the supervisory body of council
Nena general ñoo nekk supervisory body si council.
should be very familiar with all the laws regulating.
Nena dañu war a nekk wala dañu war a nekk ñoo xam ne loi bi yëpp lu mu tëralee dañ ko war a xam te dañ ko war a topp.
So that when the CEO goes left,
Nena booba CEO su demee yow bi nga xam ne àndut ak yoon.
they will know.
Nena nañ ko yëg.
When things are on the right,
Nena su demee su demee nu mu waree.
they will know.
dañ ko xam.
Is that not supposed to be the case?
Nena xanaa war a nekk noonu.
On a normal circumstances, no lower the mayor.
Yes, that's exactly how it should.
Then
Why-
why? Please proceed.
Why for now wax na la ne?
But I think I have told you that
Li ñu wax rek lañ mëna xam.
whatever we are informed, that is what we know.
Council is structured like that.
Council is structured like that.
But the laws are there.
You know, I'm not for a law.
Wa dafa am loi will bind ci book.
Yes, there is a law written on
Ak
it.
loi bo xamne ñeneen ñoko implement.
And there is a law that is
Xam
implemented by
nga
others.
You the one that's on the book.
lead council.
Yes.
It's difficult pour nga fight yépp nak.
It is very difficult to carry all the fights.
And it's very difficult pour nga waxtaan ak ko xamne togu ci suma position.
And it will be very difficult to talk to somebody who have never sit on
Ni
my
ñoo waxtaanee man maa yow.
all what we are discussing myself and
Yow
you.
yaa ngi maa waxal lu loi wax.
You are telling me about the law.
Man maa ngi laa waxal the traditional way of governing council.
I'm telling you the traditional way of governing country.
Su fekkoon ne loi rek la ñoo toppa.
If at all we are following only the law,
Doole bu mag la mayor si di am.
then that is, I'll have a big
A
powers.
typical example mooy
For instance, a typical example is that
nga binda to the ministry
if you write to the ministry
ne ko dama gis loo xam ne dafa dem wrong in council.
and claim that you have seen something that went wrong in council,
I want to make restructuring.
and I went to make restructuring,
Mu bindaat la back.
and they wrote you back,
Wala ne la hello,
you know, like, hello,
bul ma bindaat.
don't write to me
Su
again.
binda amee
If you want to write,
CEO bi moo ma war a
it's
binda.
the CEO who's supposed to.
Xam nga loolu how embarrassing is that? Number one.
No, that is an embarrassment.
Number two, loolu lan la woon CEO bi.
Number two, what does that show to the CEO?
Ne bul déglu kii du dara.
Which means now they are telling him not to listen to the mayor.
And
He sees
some of the
nothing.
evidences are here. Last time moom laa bëgg a tender.
I have many evidences of last year. That was my intention to tell them.
You might not understand
You might not understand
naka la suñ doole yi naka la wikee.
how weak our powers are.
Am na koo xam ne mu ngi toog si xëj na Fajikunda.
I think somebody, for instance, somebody is sitting at Fajikunda.
Kooku këram rek la toog.
He's sitting in his compound.
Kooku doole bu mu am si council bi.
The powers he has from council.
Yow amuloo ko yow mi mayor bi amuloo ko.
You mayor, you don't have it.
Yes. That's why I said this has to do with the financial autonomy of council. You guys should wait until I give the instructions. When I give the instructions to receive the document, then we can receive it.
Very well.
So that we wouldn't interrupt the proceedings.
Don't worry. Feel free. Very well.
Now you said you have some documents.
Dina wax nga ne am na ay kayit yi nga amee.
We can pause the topic since the register is there with you to see the documents you have. Are they relevant right now, or do you want to?
No, as we go.
As we go.
Ma wan la yéena yoo xam ne for example.
Yes, as we go, I can show you some of them as an example.
From the ministry.
From the ministry.
Okay, very well. Then, whenever we discuss a topic and you have an example that you want to show or a difficulty that you have encountered, the Commission will be very pleased to receive communications because again, like we stated, Lord Mayor, the problem is not only with you as the political heads.
Dina ko mel ni ko waxee dina problème yëpp nekkul ne yow yéen la de yi nga xam ne yéen a nekk political heads.
Or with the council itself.
Wala si area council bi si boppam.
Or with the CEO and the staff.
Wala CEO ak staff am.
But every stakeholder in the administration of the local government area councils will be looked into.
Ak képp koo xam ne nekk na stakeholder si council nit ñi war nañu ñaa seet sa biir.
Rule of audit.
Dina soo demee si biir audit.
GPPA were here.
GPPA.
Local government ministry, in fact we started with them.
Local government ministry si ñoom lañ dooroon.
Both the commissioners and the councillors pointed out some of the things that we think were irregular on their side.
Dina council si te commission bi tamit dañ am ay gestu bi nga xam ne def nañ ko li nga xam ne moom dafa nekk loo xam ne dafa régular si seen boor.
So that everybody will have the fair share of the cake.
Dina pour nga gis ne cake bi ku nekk lu war nga jot ko loolu ngay jot.
Now back to the issue.
Dina suñ deelee si mbir bi.
This is in relation to your daily expenses.
Dina lii nekk na loo xam ne bokk na si bés bu nekk dépense bi nga dee def.
Where ministry doesn't have a say.
Nena fi nga xam ne ministry amu fa kaddu.
That's what we are discussing now.
Nena loolu lañ nekk wala loolu la ñu waxtaan léegi.
The payment of the payments made to, for example, for media coverage.
Nena fee bi nga xam ne fee ngeen ko si media coverage.
Example, these things have nothing to do with ministry communication, correct?
Loolu soo ko seetee nekk na loo xam ne amut connection ak ministry. Nena baaru dëgg. Yes.
Exactly. That's what we are discussing now.
Nena loolu la ñu waxtaanee léegi.
We will definitely also entertain and discuss your relationship with the ministry and the Local Government Service Commission.
Nena boobu tamit si kanam danañ waxtaan sa diggante ak Ministry of.
We will discuss your relationship with the Ministry of Local Government.
Nena nañ waxtaan ni nga seexante ak Ministry of Local Government.
We will also discuss matters in relation to devolution of power as well. To see the need to enhance control in certain areas. So we'll get to all of those things. In the event you also think some things of importance, don't hesitate to bring it to the attention of the chairperson. If you are given latitude, you can address on those issues. Now, please proceed.
I think is relevant.
I had a letter of which I think is relevant
to the discussion.
To the discussions before we go past.
Very well.
Should I read it?
Please let me have it so that we admit it, and then you can seek permission to read it. We apply to tender a letter from the mayoress. The letter is from the Minister of Lands, Regional Government and Religious Affairs, Quadrangle, Banjul, 10th of August 2020, addressed to the Office of the Lord Mayor, Banjul City Council, Independence Drive, Banjul, with the subject restructuring of council personnel, signed by Ma Mudu Bah for the permanent secretary, to be admitted into evidence and marked as an exhibit. We also have a letter from the Minister of Lands, Regional Government and Religious Affairs to all addressees, 12 March 2020, says reappointment, dismissals, discipline, and promotion of state of area councils. To be admitted together with the other document and marked as an exhibit.
A letter dated the 12th of March 2020, the letter emanated from the Ministry for Lands, Regional Government and Religious Affairs, the Quadrangle. It has reference LMS 35/131/01 in brackets 89. It has the subject reappointments, dismissals, discipline and promotion of staff of area councils. This letter is signed by Fatou Jiba for Permanent Secretary. It is addressed to all the councils and the directors of finance and chairpersons and mayors of the various councils. And it is photocopied to the council, to the chairman of the Local Government Service Commission and chairman of Select Committee of the National Assembly on Lands, IEC, and Ombudsman. The second letter is dated the 10th of August 2020 It also emanated from the Ministry for Lands, Regional Government and Religious Affairs, the quadrangle, and it has reference LM35/131/01 in brackets 213. It is addressed to the Office of the Mayor, Banjul City Council, Independence Drive, and it has the subject restructuring of council personnel. It is signed by Mahmoud Ba for Permanent Secretary. These two documents are admitted together as exhibit in evidence, and they are marked as LGC/BCC/RL/002.
As the Commission places, do you want to talk about it? It's about discipline and dismissal, but then if you want to relate it to this issue, you may.
We will still
come back to the issue of matters of employment, discipline, and all that. But if you want to talk about it, discuss this issue, we can go ahead.
Employment and discipline. Yes.
So this is my indico.
The reason why I brought it.
Because we are talking about administration.
Because the administration that we are discussing all about.
And this is why I wanted to read the letter.
Yes.
And this is my reasons why I wanted to read this said letter.
And want to underline something there.
And there I want to underline something.
Where the ministry stated clearly.
Where the ministry has stated clearly.
Because Society from the Office of the Mayor, Banjul City Council, Independence Drive, restructuring of council personnel. I acknowledge receipt of your letter dated 27 July 2020 in relation to the above captioned subject. The restructuring of council personnel is purely administrative. Therefore, on behalf of the Permanent Secretary, I write to inform you that such letters should be written by the CEO for necessary action. I look forward for your usual understanding and cooperation. So if the mayor wrote to the ministry, dilen wax ne A, B, and C.
If the mayor wrote to the ministry to say A, B, C.
Lead council. Nga ne man may the head of that administration.
And you said I am the head of that administration.
Nga binda ma lu mel nii.
And you wrote something like this to me.
Dima wax ne ma.
Telling me that.
The letter is just like, this is not your business, mind your business.
Showing me that simplicity that this is not your business. You
and then these letters are public documents.
And these are public documents.
Ministry.
This will come from ministry.
Mudam records.
Go to records.
Dem si loxo CEO bi.
Go to the CEO.
Dem si loxo ñeneen.
Go to others.
Access to suma office.
Come to my office.
So the attitude dafa start.
And the attitude. Start. People will laugh at you. You want to discipline them, they will say, no, you don't have power, don't disturb us. I had that long time until I'm tired.
A typical evidence of that morning,
and this is a typical example.
And this was 2020.
And this is 2020. They don't stop from there.
Very clearly.
And they wrote it very clearly.
Discipline then staff.
Indicate to you that you cannot discipline any staff.
That is totally mind your business.
That is to indicate you need to mind your own business.
I'm not another memo.
I have another memo here.
And this smaller one.
And this will be showing you
from outside.
Something is happening if at all we don't get it from outside.
Like from auditors.
Like from auditors?
From National Audit, for example.
From National Audit?
From the Office of the Ombudsman.
The Office of the Ombudsman?
From Minister of Finance.
Minister of Finance?
You
will stay in the office and you will never know that.
I wrote a memo to the CEO.
I wrote a memo to the CEO.
And this has to do with a witness who talked fee.
And this has to do with a witness who seated here before.
And I want to tender this.
And I want to tender this so that you can know that.
Affair my CEO, so Office of the Ombudsman.
That person with the CEO, if at all it is not the Office of the Ombudsman. I will not know anything.
Very well. Now we will.
So
this is another document.
Because this
will show.
So don't letter to the Office of the Ombudsman.
If at all this letter does not come from the Office of the Ombudsman to me,
burahara boobu mu ngi doon dox.
I will never know that this thing is going on.
But again, as I said,
soo
nekkee si kanam,
if you are a leader,
da nga accept lu ñëw.
you will accept.
But I will apply to have this admitted. We will treat this matter under the issues regarding employment and disciplinary powers of both the ministry, the commission, the service commission, and the area council. And I will also respond to your comments before we go back to the issue of finance. We applied to tender a letter from Lord Mayor's office to the Chief Executive Officer, 14th of April 2021, with the subject re-identify complaint of maladministration against the Banjul City Council, signed by Her Worship Lord Mayor Ray Malik Law, to be admitted into evidence and marked as an exhibit.
Chairperson, with your permission, I'm going to read letter B, listen B, memo B.
With your permission.
Yes, let me admit the letter as an exhibit. Then we will give you. A memo dated the 14th of April 2021. It is coming from the Lord Mayor's office. It is addressed to the Chief Executive Officer, and it has the subject, Idenjai complained of maladministration against the Banjul City Council. And the letter is signed by Her Worship Lord Mayor Rohi Malik Law, and it is copied to the Ombudsman, Local Government Service Commission, and a file copy is maintained. This memo is admitted in evidence as an exhibit, and it is marked as LGC/BCC/RL/003. May I suggest that you are dealing to tidy up the evidence, to proceed with the finances, and we will return this to her after admitting it, for her to read it out, since he is requesting to read it. But when we are dealing with issues of governance, that is employment, etc.,
absolutely,
then we deal with this issue.
Yes,
so we will give you the opportunity to read this, whilst we tidy up the evidence, because she was dealing with the issues of the finance. We continue that. When we come to issues of discipline and your interactions with the ministry and the problem of having to discipline the staff, we will talk on that extensively, and you will have to deal with all of these issues to give us a proper insight. All right?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. So for all this, they are already admitted into evidence. Just as the chairperson has already stated, we will deal with these matters as a topic of its own, extensively. And again, for all other things that are related to this, or your administrative powers, or your problems with the ministry, or any other body, you always have the freedom to raise it at the right time. Okay?
Wow, Chairperson, letter memo B, to the CEO.
This memo to the CEO.
Tender work because of discipline there.
I don't
tender pour paint a picture for the lead council to understand. I'm not things you don't have your hand.
My reasons of tendering this is not to show the commission about this. All I want to do is for council to be aware of what I'm saying, that something have transferred.
When
I was aware,
the letter from the ombudsman.
this was the time when I got this letter from the ombudsman.
Why the individual concern?
But individual concern,
all the time
because he is aware of all this at all the time.
So picture buma try to paint.
But the picture that I'm trying to paint here, to indicate to council that whatever is happening in council doesn't mean that mayor is aware of it.
Madam Mayor, we very much appreciate the insight you are giving us as to some of the issues, because I recall listening to you earlier on before we went for our recess, as to you stating that some of the issues you had were very surprising to you when people give evidence before this commission. And we do understand, and we know that there is that possibility, because we have seen facts to that effect. So we will give you the opportunity to relate all of this as we proceed in your testimony. All right? Thank you.
Very well.